All right, everybody. Daddy and Emma here. Welcome to the broadcast. She's a little sleepy-headed today, so she may end up taking a little nap on us. I just wanted to share with you guys an experience I had yesterday that is not an uncommon experience with contractors and us small business owners that have to go and meet customers to look at their job on site. Sometimes we have to travel a good little way to look at a job. A bush hogging job in Nebo, North Carolina. 40 minutes one way. So this is an hour and 20-minute round trip, not including the time I was there, which I was about, 20, 30 minutes. Now, the reason for this video is that it was a complete waste of time to go down there. Bush hogging in general in my area usually doesn't pay much, and a lot of times customers have a completely unrealistic idea of what it actually costs, and other contractors who bid on these jobs and bid them too low not only hurt themselves but the local economy for that specific service. I travel all the way to Nebo, get down there, and it's this huge 20-acre field, like almost like golf course type terrain, just super flat, easy, just by the terrain and what it looked like to me, how well groomed it was. I knew I had wasted my time driving down there, because there's no way that I could make what I typically make per hour on a job like that, on any job. Typically I make anywhere from $150 to $200 per hour for my services. The guy pulls up, really nice guy, we shake hands, and I am not leading into this with a negative attitude, even though I know I'm not gonna get this job, that there's no money here. You can choose to be negative and you can be aggravated and, hateful, or you can go into it with a positive attitude, thinking that there may be something in the future with this person that could benefit you, your company, and your family. So the guy leads in, I ask him how many acres you got exactly. He said it's right around 20 acres. And he says, let me just go ahead and tell you. Now, he's gonna tell me what somebody else bidding. I'm thankful for that. He says, I've got a guy, I'm getting other prices. I've got one that says he's gonna do this for 50 bucks an hour. That's just ridiculous. You cannot operate hardly any machine at 50 bucks an hour and turn any kind of a profit. This sounds like somebody that probably does it on the side, enjoys bush hogging, and that's fine and dandy. But for those of us who are trying to run a business out here, it makes it difficult. So you can choose to be mad at this point. You can be aggravated at this other contractor, and you can choose to let that show in the way you talk with the rest of this conversation. And I discourage anybody from doing that. Try to keep a positive attitude and outlook at all stages of meeting a customer. At this point, I'm like, okay, there's definitely no money here. He's already got somebody that's way a third the price that I could even price this. So now what do I do? Do I just say, man, you have wasted my time? How dare you call any kind of a business? But that's not the path I go. So I asked him, I was like, what kind of stuff is growing on here? Is it, like broom straw? Is this really thick grass? He actually didn't know what kind of grass it was. It's Kentucky 31, and it grows, fairly thick if you seed it decent. Then he makes the comment, well, it doesn't really matter how thick it is. I've already decided I'm not getting the job, so I start deciding I'm going to try to help him. I'm going to try to build a rapport with him. I want him to know that I care about his project, even though it's not a job for me. So I go ahead and tell him, I'm like, man, I can't pull off jobs. We're geared more for excavation and grading. I can't pull off a job that I'm running a machine that makes $150 an hour to match that. That's not going to work. But I did say, I was like, it does matter how thick it is, because if it's really thick grass, it's going to slow your mower down. That's where you can capitalize. You start to win this person's trust. So I tell him, I would not hire somebody that's going to charge you by the hour. I told him, the only way that somebody can do this at $50 an hour and do any good is if they lollygag around. They come up here with some little bitty tractor, lollygag, and take their time and rack out a bunch of hours, which then this guy, I'm talking to him, he tells me he's got a 40 horsepower Kubota. Anybody you hire, you're wanting to have a bigger machine that's going to be able to do it more efficiently. That was his goal. He said, I could do this, but it's going to take me forever with a 5-foot cutter. Anybody who's going to operate $50 an hour is running like a 30, maybe to a 50 horsepower tractor, and they're not turning profits. I'm like, you're talking to people that don't know what they're doing, or they're going to be out of business in a year. We're just having conversations, good conversations. It's friendly. I'm not letting myself get aggravated. I'm wanting to win this person's trust and, you know, build a friendship so I can hopefully get some kind of work, maybe do an excavation and grading for him 5 years from now. He'll remember me as being a nice guy who tried to help him, and I am. He just wasn't educated enough to protect himself from people who didn't know what they were doing. So he asks me, he says, well, what size tractor do you have? I'm like, it's a 70 horsepower Kubota tractor. I've got a 6-foot and an 8-foot cutter. And he's like, oh, you could do 2 acres an hour. And I was like, well, that's possible, but I wouldn't quote it that way because I can't guarantee it. So now, here's another reason I'm not going to take bush hogging for him, is because he's already developed an expectation on something that he is not educated on. He doesn't know my tractor. He doesn't know my cutter. So how could he possibly tell me with inaccuracy how fast I can cut? And to what quality of cut? Does he want to just knock down, or does he care if there's going to be missed strands of straw all over the place, which most people don't like? For those who want to keep up the math, if I did do 2 acres per hour, that's like 10 hours. And if he expected me to even match 50 an hour, that's only $500 for this job. Now, by the time I drive down there for this quote, spend a few minutes talking to him, and drive, you know, do our driving back, we're at like $300 of lost time and income that I could have been on a job working and making money. The negative side of a person could go to that and become very ill very quickly and let it ruin their day. Instead, I decided to try to keep a positive attitude, and even if this guy didn't have like an income that could ever employ us, we can choose to be friendly. We can choose to be kind and develop a rapport. I decided to go ahead and tell him, you know, this just isn't gonna work out for us. I would recommend you find somebody to cut hay off of it and get it done for free. What that does is you develop a kindness, and if he has friends, which I'm sure he did, he was a really nice guy, and family, he may hear one of his relatives at some point say, I need some grading done at my house. He may remember you and say, hey, I met this really nice guy one time. He came out and looked at my property. We couldn't make a deal, but he provides that service, and this is about what he charges. And you never know, 5, 10, even longer down the line, that gentleman may inadvertently get us hired for a job that may make way more than the $300. So go into your quotes with a positive attitude, and once you get there, regardless of the outcome, have a positive attitude. Have a positive attitude toward the person. And sometimes that's hard. Sometimes it's hard because somebody may have just a super unrealistic expectation, and a lot of times it's not their fault they have that expectation. They see something they need, it doesn't seem like a big deal, and they expect it to not cost much. And sometimes, yes, a customer may hear a price from you and they may react with anger. And it's not because they hate you or they just think that you're being ridiculous. It's the fact they realize now that they can't afford or don't have the money to do the project they have. So even if they get angry, try to remain calm and kind. Kind will serve you as much as any other trait in this industry. That's just a quick little spiel. I wanted to share that experience with you guys. And if you're having a hard time, if business is slowed down a lot and you are struggling yourself, it is going to become more and more likely that you have a hard time staying positive and kind. But the world needs more kindness, and it needs more professional contractors that can keep that demeanor. There's a lot of people having a hard time, and we have to be understanding of that. And we're going to keep pressing forward, Emma and I, on these jobs. We're going to be nice, aren't we? She's very tired. We played Monopoly today, and her little brain has been racked. But guess who won? This girl. Because she can handle that money. And so hopefully you guys are having a great day. Hopefully you get something from this video, and hopefully the next time you go visit a customer and you get into one of those situations, you remember this video and think, you know, I'm just going to stay kind, because there's a good chance this person I'm standing here with right now knows somebody that may one day give me an opportunity to work for them and make some decent money. Thank you guys. We love you. Have a great day, and we've got a lot of fun videos coming up. We'll see you next time. How'd Daddy do? Was that pretty good? Did I mess it up?
No.
You don't think they'll think that I stink? No.